So, as we've mentioned already a few times, Donald J. Trump has won the election and he is set to make his triumphant return to the White House in about 10 weeks' time. Trump took home 7 of the swing states, including the so called blue wall of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Trump beat Harris in the popular vote by about 4 million votes. Republicans were able to flip control of the Senate, and it appears, I think we found out just before recording, that it is confirmed that they will hold a small majority in the House as well. No matter how you look at this, the 2024 election has been a bloodbath for the Democrats. This is the red wave that we thought we'd see 2 years ago. Over the next few weeks, political pundits and analysts on the left will be trying to figure out how this all happened. I can save them some time and energy by pointing out that this happened because we, the people, have finally had enough. The people are sick of being pissed on by the left and being told that it's raining. The people are done with having their money stolen and redistributed to illegal aliens that have no interest or desire in the well-being of this country that they are occupying. Americans have decided that they'd rather deal with a mean tweet from time to time if it means their country and their way of life will be protected. If it means their investments will be protected. If it means their children will be protected. 4 years ago, the American people were told the adults would be back in the room, only to sit back and watch as a creepy old man slipped into dementia while his DEI hire vice president sat around and played solitaire as she lost 94% of her staff because they couldn't stand working for her. 4 years ago, Joe Biden was elected because he pitched himself as a moderate who would bring his party closer to the center while reaching across the aisle to unite this country. Instead, he was a puppet being used as a safe face to present to the American people as the radicals behind the scenes installed mentally ill people like Richard Levine and Sam Brinton to positions of power. We watched as the Biden-Harris administration failed over and over on the world stage, from their disastrous pullout of Afghanistan, where 13 American soldiers were killed, to their failure to properly dissuade Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. Biden started out by saying, "It depends on if it's a small incursion," to "don't." And Putin scoffed the same way he did when Bush and Obama were president as he invaded another country, something he never attempted while Trump was in charge. The Biden-Harris administration next turned to the Middle East, where their lack of backbone against the pro-terrorist wing of their own party put them in a position to try and play both sides of a clear good versus evil war between Hamas and Israel. They thought they could happy talk their way through this election with comments about a two-state solution and the need for humanitarian aid in Gaza. They ran ads in this election cycle where Kamala pitched opposing positions of how she would handle this based on if they ran an ad in a Palestinian community in Michigan or in Jewish communities in Pennsylvania. The left thinks the American people are stupid and that they'll be able to get away with gaslighting us into believing Donald Trump and the MAGA movement are Nazis who want to control women's so-called reproductive rights. The left just ran a candidate so inept that after she stole the nomination from her boss, she refused to do an interview for about 40 days. Think about how crazy that is. Those of us that pay attention to politics on a daily basis knew the same thing that the Harris campaign knew, as well as the media already knew. The more the American people see and hear from Kamala, the less they're going to like Kamala. From her condescending tone to her annoying laugh to her word salad answers, there was nothing presidential about Kamala Harris. We said it on this show before, but the American people were given a choice between someone that wears their personality on their sleeve, whether you like it or not, or someone so fake and manufactured that her accent would change depending on the type of crowd she was speaking to. This was the election that 74 million Americans stood tall to tell the party of the gated community types that we will no longer tolerate an invasion of illegal immigrants pouring over our borders. We will no longer tolerate illegal aliens sleeping in airports and taking over entire hotels. The American people told us loud and clear that we are done feeling shy about stating the obvious fact that men are men and women are women. We stood up and pushed back against the wild gender confusion invading everything from elementary schools to women's sports. The American people have spoken loud and clear to tell the mainstream media that their time is over. They no longer hold a monopoly over the dissemination of information. The mainstream media has become the horse and buggy of information, no longer relevant or useful in a day and age where people can verify information at the snap of their fingers. This election proves that the public square is reopened for business, and the free market will determine who is worth listening to and who is worth avoiding. Most importantly, this election shows that the American people answered the question that has been posed to us for a few years now. That question simply is your life better now or better 4 years ago? Ladies and gentlemen, our lives were much better 4 years ago. And last Tuesday, 74 million Americans stood up and emphatically proclaimed that they would like to make America great again. And Juice, with that being said, I do believe it's time to welcome in our buddy, Mr. Ric Flair, because it is showtime, baby. Woo!
Showtime! Woo!